Hello and welcome to episode 281 of our SAP on Azure video podcast. Today is March 2nd, and together with Goran, we are here to talk about anything related to SAP and Microsoft. Hello, everyone. So running an SAP system on Azure is one thing, but what about resiliency? For a long time, Microsoft has been offering Azure Backup for SAP workload, and we have not only been supporting HANA, but also ASE. So to provide us with an update on the latest innovations on Azure Backup for SAP, I'm glad to have Anam with us today. Welcome, Anam, to our show. So before we dive into the topic, maybe you can quickly introduce yourself. What do you actually do at Microsoft?
Thank you, Holger, for the warm introduction. Hi, everyone. This is Anam, and I'm a senior product manager with Azure Backup team. And now we've been rechristened as Azure Resiliency. So in a moment, you'll get to know why we are moving from just backup towards resiliency. I take care of all the database backups within my team, and super happy to take you through whatever is the latest on the SAP side of things and some of the new developments that we are bringing in the coming months. So yeah, let's get started with that.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So like I said, I think most of you, like some of you would have already been familiar with Azure Backup as a service, and you might be using it to back up your SAP applications within Azure. But today I would like to take a few minutes to introduce what is the vision that we are chasing at Azure Backup and now being called Azure Resilience, and where we see it going in the next 1 to 2 years and how you can benefit from it. So we recently introduced this Azure Resilience experience in the last Ignite, which is in November 2025, wherein it provides you like a comprehensive view of your estate with respect to setting up a resilience setup for your entire application estate in Azure. So it's not just limited to Azure Backup, but several other things around resiliency that you would do while you're in Azure, like ensuring that you set up the right goals and right targets with respect to Azure resilience and disaster recovery with respect to your application. So the whole experience is, catering towards that. Right now, we have just reviewed some part of the functionalities within this, where we are asking customers to set up goals with respect to zonal resilience in order to ensure that their applications are zonally resilient and all the basics and sanity functionalities are already in place. But over time, we intend to lighten up more and more features over here and the right tooling over here, where you can monitor the entire estate of yours and set up your resiliency goals all at one place. So this is where ultimately, if you're using Azure Backup functionality for SAP, will also get plugged in, and you will be able to monitor your entire application from here and set up the right goals and monitor any drifts through this central space. And having said that, yeah, Holger.
Just to briefly interrupt, and obviously this is not necessarily limited to SAP. This is really an Azure-wide program that we're doing, and SAP is just one subset that also benefits from this overall initiative.
That's correct. So when we're talking about Azure Resilience, it's not just limited to one application, but instead of like whatever components that you are protecting within Azure, using Azure Backup, and in fact, other services also, like the native backup or DR capabilities of any of the services, we're trying to consolidate all of those experiences in one pane, which is Azure Resilience. So that's the vision that we are working with. Some part of it is already lighted up, and we'll go on, launching it in the coming year as we go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, we are kind of in the way of reimagining resiliency for applications. It's not just limited to pure play, say a site recovery or a backup sort of service usage, but instead like all the different applications across monitoring, service health, Chaos Studio coming together to give you like a holistic experience to basically create a resilient application in Azure and continuously stay resilient with it. So any drift, any changes within your applications, we will make sure that in that process, you continue to be resilient and have your goals on point. So Azure Resilience is kind of being built for that sort of an experience. And you can see we are trying to kind of categorize it in these three layers, which is around cyber recovery, data resiliency, and infra resiliency, and ensuring services in each of these pillars, catering to each of these pillars, kind of get consolidated under Azure Resilience. So that's the vision that we are working with. So today, if you start using a part of Azure Backup, you will benefit in the future from all these functionalities coming in together.
Hmm.
Other than that, I think I just quickly wanted to review what Azure Backup stands for. So it is a comprehensive resiliency solution for most of the applications that you can run in Azure. It is an enterprise grade solution to configure backup on your applications, and is made for scale. So this is something which is already present today, wherein you have a capability to manage all your databases or instances running SAP HANA that are being backed up through us. You can monitor it at scale through us, and create several alerts and monitoring mechanisms on top of it to ensure that your backups are being run on time and there is no mal actors in between the configuration that you're doing. Uh, there is this whole security and cyber resiliency layer which the product offers, and we are happy to introduce new features in this layer, and I'll talk about that during the end of the presentation. But it essentially ensures that the backups that you're storing are free from any of the malactors in present in the system, and you can also ensure that there is appropriate authentication in place, so
Hmm.
that nobody comes and accidentally or with a malintent deletes any of your past backups and so on and so forth. So I think there are a plethora of features which are already available in this layer, but we have been going and enriching this more and more, which I'll talk about shortly. And finally, of course, the bottom layer talks about how we bring in specificity for backups with respect to each of the applications that we protect. So whether you are doing it for SAP HANA, ASC, or say any other databases also, we have specialized solutions which make sure that your backup is context aware and it is application aware and provides you the right granularity for restores at any point of time. So that we've been already ensuring, and there are new additions to this layer also, which we'll go on and talk about.
Hmm.
So we'll shift gears over here and just talk about how do we look at protecting a typical SAP application within Azure, and what parts of Azure Backup and Azure Resilience in general that you can use today to ensure that your SAP application is protected well within Azure. So this is like a typical three-tier application diagram that's running in Azure, and I'll just talk about which parts of it can you go on protecting with Azure Backup. So of course, there is this whole application layer, and considering it's running in a bunch of Azure VMs, we have a VM backup solution within Azure Backup. It provides you a snapshot-based solution with different frequency options available to backup, and everything goes in a recovery services vault, which then provides you a tons of security features to protect your backup. So we have like the whole VM backup solution caters to the application layer. Uh, then we have Azure Backup for file share to back up the file system which your application might be using. We currently support the SMB file share option fully, and we are right now about to launch an NFS backup solution as well. So then all the file systems can be, rightly backed up within the Azure Backup ecosystem itself. And then finally, the whole HANA database backup layer, right? So we provide a specialized backup solution for HANA databases within Azure Backup, which is fully application aware, and it provides point in time recovery for the databases. And we offer both the options in the mix, which is the native backend streaming backup and also a snapshot based backup to ensure faster throughputs for large size databases, and even recovery from an instant tier. So that's something which is there very specialized for HANA. And very recently, we in fact have started previewing our Azure Site Recovery, which is a disaster recovery service from Azure. for the HANA databases as well. So a lot of the customers who today use HANA system replication in the mix are also trying and seeing if Azure Site Recovery can fit into their use cases. So while the RPO, which is given by HSR and Azure Site Recovery, may not be exactly comparable, but in cases where you can afford to have a little bit of a lag in terms of replication, and your systems are not as RPO sensitive, Azure Site Recovery can become like a very cost effective way of managing database replications across locations, right? So this is something which we have just introduced in private preview, and a lot of our customers are trying it out and seeing how this performs with their own systems. So this is something that we are piloting with the customers. So this is in a nutshell how we visualize each component of HANA application, an SAP application kind of getting backed up using Azure Backup. Um, Besides this, we've come across customers who do have different databases apart from SAP HANA in the mix, right? So we started providing again application aware backups for those databases as well. For example, ASC backup is something that we launched very recently. Now it's a GA functionality. So any ASC backups in the mix can also be backed up using Azure Backup. And we're also working on some solutions which will unlock functionality that will help customers back up any other databases also in the mix, like Oracle or MaxDBs and DB2s. That's still somewhere in the nascent phase of development, but we understand the whole ecosystem problem statement, right? If a customer is running an application with several databases in a mix, we would want to give them an option to back
Yeah.
up all of them natively within Azure. So I think that's going to be again a very helpful functionality to consolidate everything in one pane within Azure. So moving on, I think I'll just take few minutes to take you through what's new in each of the specialized backup foray within Azure Backup. So I think the backend streaming backup for HANA databases has been there for quite some time, and many of the customers are already using and benefiting from it. Over time, we have introduced a greater topology support for this. We have recently launched support for the scale-out topologies within this. We already do support HSR systems to be backed up, very cohesively using the Azure backup systems. So this continues to be like the most used functionality by a lot of our customers when they come to Azure with their HANA workloads. But besides this, we had been consistently hearing from our customers around the need for backing up large size database with good throughput, right? And also an ability to restore fast in cases of operational recovery. So for that, we have recently introduced a snapshot-based backup, which will give you like a far greater throughput as compared to the streaming backups. And it also provides you an instant recovery tier, wherein you'll always have this one copy of backup stored in that instant tier, and you can restore really, really fast from it, like within minutes as respect to, hours when recovering
Yeah.
from the vault. So this is a net new functionality which we have introduced in the last 6 months, and it also comes up with the core promises of Azure Backup. That is, your database, your backups eventually go and get stored in Recovery Services Vault, which comes up with all the other security features like immutability, soft delete, MUN, other such things which I spoke about. So that kind of remains the constant. But now, apart from just going with the streaming based, you have an option of using snapshots, which just makes your entire thing much more faster. It also brings in this whole technology of forever incremental backups, which kind of reduces your storage footprint because you only take the full backups for the first time that you backup, and rest of it is just incremental in nature. So it also helps you squeeze your storage footprint over time. So a lot of our customers do a combination of a streaming and snapshot today to achieve like the best of both worlds. And that's like a great addition, I would say, on the overall HANA proposition that we have today. Besides this, I think I already spoke about the fact that we started supporting ASE database also in the same fashion. We provide the regular 15-minute RPO with point-in-time recovery and long-term retention in the vault for this. So it kind of adds up to that whole ecosystem story that I spoke about, that if there are other databases in the mix of your SAP application, you can go on backing those up with us. Um, we recently also started supporting the HA configurations within EAC, so all of that is available and set for use for the customers. So with this, I think I'll kind of summarize. This is what we have in terms of what we say specific to the workload, the functionalities that we offer. But I think I would really want to bring some attention towards some of the key improvements and key additions that we have done off late with respect to the cybersecurity capabilities, because we really feel that this is where we can add true value to anyone who is doing backups through us. So uh, we have already had features in the identify and protect pillars for the cybersecurity, wherein we've been giving this constant monitoring to our customers with respect to a security posture being given based on what kind of functionalities do they have turned on their recovery services vault. So that's already available. So you already know how good or bad you are in terms of your security postures with respect to backups. And then there are a good set of features with respect to data recoverability, access control, encryption, and network security in the form of immutable storage and soft delete, and ways to control RBACs on your backup. So this is already existing, and a lot of customers are leveraging this as of today, and ensuring that they have like a robust plan in place in case of any sort of ransomware attacks. But over time, what we are going on adding is these two new pillars, which is the detect and respond and recover. And we are adding more functionalities in here, which we think is going to really, really bring value in the situations of ransomware attack or malware attacks. So the first feature that is already in preview is around real-time threat detection with Microsoft Defender integration. So this is something which is already in preview. This is again a great functionality at a VM level that we have launched. So you need to back up your VM using Azure Backup, and then any sort of malware signature within the VM can be detected, and you can keep all of your backups scanned and cleaned in that sense. So essentially, before you even restore from an available restore point, you know what is the scan status for that backup. So this is essentially very useful in cases where you may have, possibly in a situation where your backups would have been compromised with a ransomware attack. So you need to be super sure before restoring that at least you're restoring with a cleaner, clean
Yeah.
restore point. So this is something which is currently in preview and being tried by a lot of our customers. Um, this is not necessarily very specific to machines running HANA in general, but any VM that you back up with Azure Backup, you can turn on this threat detection capability and benefit from it. The second good feature that we are kind of working in bringing together is the cross tenant restore. So far we have been providing like cross subscription restore or cross region restore. Cross region restore was more towards to prevent you from any sort of regional outages, and ensuring
Hmm.
that you have enough coverage in case of regional outages. Then we introduced cross subscription restore in cases where your subscription was compromised due to one or the other reason.
Hmm.
But the next logical step in that whole sense of roadmap is the cross tenant restore functionality, which is essentially if your entire tenant got compromised due to a ransomware attack,
Ah, cool.
you can basically restore using another tenant. So this is something which has been a long asked functionality, and we truly think that this is going to benefit customers in that sense. We are going to launch the preview very soon, and I think any of the customers who are interested in this, we are happy to talk to them and onboard them to upcoming previews and get their feedback on this part. But yeah, these were the two core functionalities which I wanted to highlight, which are coming up and really going to strengthen the cybersecurity capabilities that we offer today.
That's
Uh,
actually pretty cool because I think if I, for example, as a company, if I got hit by a ransomware attack or something like that, and I really don't know what is my state, then I at least know with the real-time threat detection that my backups are actually clean, hopefully, and then I can even set up a completely new, fresh tenant and then restore and get my SAP system potentially up and running in this new environment, knowing that it was scanned by Microsoft Defender, that my backups are clean, and then I'm in a completely isolated new environment without, hopefully, without any remaining ransomware software lying around, and I can get my system up and running again.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct, Holger. So I think like a lot of these investments on the ransomware recovery side of things are going to, bring a lot more assurances to our customers and help them truly make sense of their backups and DR strategy in general while they're using our product. So I think I'll take a pause over here and go from here. Like, do we have more questions in to go in, or how do we proceed?
No, I think this is great. I mean, what I always loved about the Azure Backup, and specifically then obviously SAP or Azure Backup for SAP, was that there's always this constant innovation. It's not like a one-time thing that I install and then I use it and I'm happy, but I'm always getting these new functionalities. I think first of all, what you mentioned with ASE. I mean, again, you already said that this has been GA for quite some time, but I still remember when we started with Azure Backup, and we had then Azure Backup for HANA up and running. This was great, but a lot of customers were saying, "Look, I am doing a lot of with systems with HANA, but I still have other databases. So can you also support them?" And then over time, we also supported ASE. So you had this one pane of glass where you could then monitor and control all your SAP systems. And now we're not stopping there. I really like the security features that you just mentioned. Also in other areas, obviously, Microsoft is spending a lot of time and effort on improving the security aspects of your estates. And it's great to see that this is now also available with Azure Backup. And basically, I as a customer, I don't know. I guess I need to toggle, I need to enable a few things, but that's probably it. I hope
Yeah.
that it's not a new install or installing new agents or whatever, but it's just a configuration. And I say yes, I also want to enable Microsoft Defender for my backups, and then I can benefit from this immediately. So I really like this concept.
Great to hear that, Holger. And I think we're always open to hearing more from our customers and understanding what they're really facing in the field. So and constantly evolving with it. The whole resilience vision that I spoke about, I think that kind of
Mhm.
stemmed from this asks from the customers that it's the backup and the DR strategy for an organization is not piecemeal. It's often stretching across
Yeah.
different workloads across Azure, and we need to have an answer for all of that, and also give them a sense of that whole estate being projected somewhere, and so that they can monitor it and make sure everything is compliant. So we're working on that, and hopefully very soon we'll come back with new updates in that area, and also hopefully have some of our SAP customers try it out. So looking forward to that.
Perfect. So I'll put some links in our show notes for Azure Resiliency and the whole Azure Backup. Um, and then yeah, I'll let the community take a look at this and then potentially reach out to you in case of any additional questions.
That sounds
Perfect.
good. Yep.
Anam, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to get this update, and I'm sure I'll see you again on our podcast soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Holger, for the
Thank you.
platform, and nice talking to you.
Same here. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.